Yes, so Ian had this interview with, Dragonflight interview with Korean Webzine Potion. Here's some of the stuff that came out of that interview. So the story of Dragonflight. Dragonflight is a bright, uplifting new journey into the world of dragons, adventure, and new stories to discover. Not just a new age of dragons, but a new age of World of Warcraft, laying the foundation for years to come. I mean, this is a nice break from... We know what Shadowlands wants. Very dark, very ominous, not very fun. I mean, it's... Shadowlands, it's very out there, too. It's not grounded in Azeroth at all. The whole concept of Shadowlands is out there, and I think this is like a nice return to form, coming back to Azeroth. Let's make WoW fun, bright, exciting, and dragons in general are just great. So he says, Alexstrasza and Kalecgos are well established, but some of the other dragon flights are in turmoil. There is no current black aspect, and Ysera has been through a horrific journey. Yeah, this whole no current black aspect, that's going to be important, right? We know Kalecgos, sorry, not Kalecgos. Man, what's his name? The smoky, good-looking guy. What's his name? Somebody in chat help me out. Our good-looking dragon boy who got slapped by Anduin. Anyways, he's going to be fighting to become the dragon aspect, right? As the son of Deathwing. Deathwong? No, I don't think that's it. No. Deathwing's son. Magadir? No, I don't think that's it either. Anyways, he's going to be fighting for his spot, and, he's going to have to prove himself, probably. Nefarian? No. You guys know it. Let me look him up. Hold on. I could probably look up Anduin Slap, and he'll come up. Anduin Slap, it doesn't come up. Rathian, there we go. Rathian, yep. That's who I was thinking of, Rathian. Yes, Rathian is gonna be pushing to become the new Dragonflight leader, right? He's been looking for the Dragon Isles this whole time. So Rathian's gonna be an important part here. He's gonna play a role in this whole no current dragon aspect part of the story. Man, I don't know why I couldn't remember the name Rathian. Anyways, Dragonflight is a story of exploration, not stopping a single villain or world-ending threat. The major bosses are still planned out, but similar to Mists of Pandaria, we'll learn about them as we explore the Isles. Hey, I'm fine with that. I don't need a big bad on the box cover to be excited about the expansion. I'm excited about this expansion, and we talked about in a previous stream/video where we talked about who the big bad can be, and there are plenty of options. A lot of these dragon aspects get corrupted, so we know that there could be options out there for any of these dragon aspects to go down a road where they become the big bad. Definitely, it's his birthright. Yeah, talking about Rathian. That's what he's going to claim, at least. But we'll see. Ebonhorn is another black dragon that could try to become the new black aspect. We'll learn who the major villains are during the first few weeks of content, presumably during the leveling process. Yeah, exciting. That'll make questing even more fun, right? We're going to learn a lot about the story here. So he continues on his interview to talk about the Dracthyr origins and the Evoker class fantasy. The Dracthyr were originally created by Notharian, the Earth Warden. So the guy, Notharian becomes Deathwing. Presumably they were created before he became Deathwing, as the perfect fusion of dragons and humanity, explaining why they use powers of multiple dragonflights. The chromatic dragonflight created by Nefarian and similar experiments were an attempt to recreate this hybrid with somewhat mixed results. Interesting. The Dracthyr are cool. I think it's a cool class. I've seen some of the new customizations. People have kind of beefed them up a little bit, and I think there are some thicker looking Dracthyr that you might be able to create, but we'll see. But as far as like the class story, the backstory of them, I think it's cool. I like the fact that they were kind of created by Deathwing, And we'll see where that goes, right? That's a tainted history at this point. I mean, the Therian created him, but he did become Deathwing later on. So we'll see if there's any trust issues with the Alliance Horde and these Dracthyr when they find out who created them. Oh, as far as tanking goes, tanking didn't feel quite right for Evokers, due to being an up-close role while the Dracthyr theme revolves around ranged breath weapons and winged mobility. Yeah, so they didn't seem to think that tanking was gonna be a good fit for these guys. And we talked a little bit about this before, where people were saying, oh, we needed a tanking class, and I didn't think so. I don't think adding a tanking class is going to create more tanks in the game. Like I said, I think tanks are takes a certain type of person to tank, certain type of personality. And I just don't think that making the Dracthyr a tanking class is going to bring more tanks into the game. I think people who tank already maybe would have made one, but wouldn't have upped the number of tanks in the game. Can't wait to snipe them out of the sky on my hunter. Yeah. Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be cool. I mean, they're going to be able to glide around and, fall with style, I guess. Kind of like demon hunters, but supposedly even more able to kind of glide around and fly than demon hunters currently can. The empowered ability system, in which evokers can charge up their spells into more powerful attacks, allows for more creative flexibility, with a short cast during a high movement situation and longer charge times during periods of burst. Yeah, look, this whole charge up your move, this mechanic that they created, I think is very cool. And they showed it off, where you kind of like hold down the button and he's charging up, charging up, charging up, and the longer you charge it up, the stronger the blast is going to be. I think that's going to get implemented in a lot of other classes. Whether it be through a new ability in our talent systems, or maybe even some remakes of some old abilities. I mean, could you imagine as a mage being able to charge up your pyroblast, right? Like the pyroblast has a very long cast time, but imagine being able to just kind of click it off to create, maybe just shoot off a weaker pyroblast or a couple in a row. But then if you decide you want to charge it up all the way, you can get that full effect of a blast of a full pyroblast. I think this could be brought into a lot of other classes, and we'll see a lot more of this. It just creates more, variability in the way you play. I think it was a great move, and I thought it was interesting the second I saw it when they talked about it in the reveal of the expansion. Gonna have to play one. I love my Demon Hunter. Yeah, I think a lot of people who play Demon Hunter are gonna try out the Dracthyr, because they do seem very similar, except Demon Hunter is more melee centric and the Dracthyr are more ranged. So player agency came up here, and embracing min-maxing. A lesson learned from Classic is that modern players will fight against restrictions more than they did in the past. So the talent system is designed with more flexibility and less permanent choice. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, that's what we want, right? You want some flexibility. And flexibility isn't really offered when it comes to player power, because we're always going to look for what's the most powerful spec or whatever and play that out. But it seems like they're trying to offer some player flexibility, and that maybe some of these talents aren't directly tied to player power, just some mobility and other things that you'll be able to do. Let's go, guys. Queue up. That's right, Epic. That's right. Yeah, today's Wednesday. Where is everyone? We usually fill up a lot quicker than this. But hey, we're moving. We're moving. It's all right. We'll keep discussing here while we wait. The goal isn't to fight min-maxing as much as it is to embrace it, allowing players to set up multiple talent loadouts that can be changed at will while out of combat. They preface that. So yeah, that makes sense. You don't want talent switching mid-combat. For things like single target, AoE, and PvP, and so on. Class trainers may have use again, as you'll need to visit them to adjust as save your new talent loadouts. Oh, okay. That's interesting. I didn't know that. So we'll go to our class trainer to get our loadout done and then save it so that you're able to swap between them. Yeah, very cool. Class trainers. I have not gone to my class trainer in quite a while. I remember in vanilla, I mean, you always went to your class trainer after you hit after you dinged. So that's cool that we'll be able to go back to them and do something. They'll have some use again. Recognizing that players will always choose increased performance over utility. This is what I was talking about. We're always just going to look for the most DPS, the most healing, the best tanking. We're just going to look up what's the best and then talent ourselves out to that, to that exact spec. Separating talent points into 2 independent trees allows one to focus on the core role, i.e. restoration, while the other focuses on class level, like druid utility, movement, and control. You shouldn't have to give up damage or throughput for utility. See, that's very cool. That's what gives you the choice, right? So as a druid, you can pick between your druid class abilities without sacrificing on the fact that you're not going to be as good of a restoration healer, right? Because they're 2 separate talent trees. So I think this separate talent tree thing is very cool, and it's going to allow a lot of customization. I like glyphs from way back. Yeah, glyphs were cool, Andy, back in the day. I remember I played mage and I had the glyph where you can, when you polymorph, somebody turn into a penguin. Those were cool. They did add some customization, and I think some of that is going to come back through in these the class level utility, right? The class talent tree, because those seem less power focused, like player power focused, and more like utility focused, and maybe some quirky things like the penguin polymorph. The last thing they talked about here was seasonal instance contact. I had some sprint ones on my rogue that I would use in preparation to double sprint flag across Warsong Gulch. That's cool. Yeah, see, some of that stuff was very cool, and I hope some of that comes back in these class trees. So seasonal instance content. There are no current plans for a small party instance content like Torghast, Horrific Visions, or Island Expeditions. Thank God. I'm done with that stuff. To me, it was kind of gimmicky anyways. I'm done with it. I just want them to focus on the core gameplay, make that good. Don't worry about this extra shit, because I just don't want them putting dev time into this extra systems that are just going to be single expansion related and then gone. I want them to focus on the core game, and I think that's what they're doing with Dragonflight. There is more focus on the open world with dangerous areas that will encourage grouping up, but without requiring specific roles. Very cool. I want the open world to feel alive again. To me, the most fun I have is when I'm playing in the open world. I mean, creating raids with players to go to different parts of the continents. Fighting world bosses, I always thought is a fun moment where, everyone's piling into a single area and you're all fighting a single boss. So I'm totally down for more open world content. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. Mythic Plus has helped make dungeons a major part of WoW gameplay. But running the same dungeon and farming the same gear for 18 months gets pretty old. That's true. Yeah, it can get monotonous at times. To mitigate this, Dragonflight will launch with 8 new dungeons, but Season 1 will only feature Mythic Plus versions of 4 of them, alongside 4 dungeons from past expansions. Yeah, see, this is cool. I think this is cool because that content's there, right? There's a lot of good dungeons in WoW that just don't get used anymore because they're in the past and we don't use them. Maybe if there's time walking event, we might do them, but otherwise they're gone. So why not use that great in-game content? WoW is an old game. That means there's plenty of content out there to play. So bring that stuff back, make it relevant, and I think that's what they're going to do with these 4 past dungeons from past expansions that they're going to be bringing back. So those dungeons will rotate in Season 2 with Mythic Plus versions of the other 4 Dragonflight dungeons, joined by 4 more past expansion dungeons. So there's 8 total new dungeons. 4 will be in the first season, and then 4 will be in the second season, and then they'll swap back and forth from there, while also adding 4 dungeons from past expansions. Very cool. That'll keep Mythic Plus fresh, which is nice. The only caveat there for me is, as a tank, it is kind of nice to know the routine of the dungeon. Right, you just go in and you know where you to make your pulls, you know where to line of sight something or how to do it. There's going to be a bit more of a learning curve, especially early on here. But all in all, I think it'll create more playability, replayability, and it'll make the Mythic Plus system more fun to play. The intent behind this is to reduce player fatigue while introducing new loot and challenges for a more varied experience. Yep, and I think that's going to accomplish that goal. I think that's a good way to do it. And season to season, we'll be bouncing back and forth between the new dungeons while adding on the old dungeons. I think that's cool. I want to explore the lore and not grind gated BS. Yes, and I think that's what they're going to let us do, Mag. I think that's what they're going to let us do. Don't like having to farm Soul Ash, but love the Gauntlet and the Twisting Corridors. You know, I think a lot of people the Twisting Corridors kind of grew on them. They started to like it more. We'll see if anything like that comes back. But for now, I really just wanted the Blizz dev team to focus on core gameplay, focus on World of Warcraft, what it is, how it plays, how it feels. And then if you have time to add in a system like Twisting Corridors, fine. But I don't want to sacrifice, world gameplay and stuff for a system that's just an expansion system and that's it. True, they need to polish it up. Yep, exactly. Well, interesting. We got more news out of here, and we'll continue to discuss the news as it comes out. But for now, that was everything that Ian had to say with this Korean interview, and I think there's a lot of good stuff. Again, I'm very excited for this expansion. I think it's gonna be great.